Here we are, you guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this special Thursday show. It's uh, it's not a granny show this time. Well, except there's one granny here, but it's not the duo that you're used to seeing. It's just me, and I have a special guest to introduce to you guys tonight. But really quickly, over in the chat, Tammy McGuigan. Um, First up, what about Shathaji 63? Hey, girly, thank you for being here. Prairie Queen. Good to see you, Dahlia, Alon Meter. Me too, Dahlia. I'm looking forward to it too. So we're just going to jump right into this. I'm going to. I lost our guest. Okay, there he is. He's back. Okay, so let him shake it off a little bit. Okay, everyone in the chat, I'd like to introduce you to our guest today, Steve. How are you, sir?
Hi, Robin. I'm really good. Really appreciate you doing this chat. It's such a good thing to raise awareness of. So just wanted to say thank you so much for raising awareness of dementia.
Well, gosh, you're welcome. And I thank you so much for this opportunity for, number one, for me to learn more about it. And for anybody who might not ever have heard of it before, it's not one of your top five that you hear about all the time, or even if it's that small of a group,
Absolutely. It's definitely one of the Lewy body dementia is definitely one of the not so common dementias that people know. I think most people understand or know what Alzheimer's disease is, which is one form of dementia.
Yes.
But Lewy body is just another form of dementia that has slightly different symptoms to Alzheimer's.
Yeah, there's Alzheimer's and then there's Parkinson's. And many times people confuse, Alzheimer's. Well, is it Alzheimer's or is it dementia? It's all the same. Really?
Yes.
It's just a permutation. Am I correct? It's just a...
Correct. Yeah, dementia is probably like the umbrella term for the disease. Alzheimer's is one type of dementia.
Okay. Yeah.
Lewy body is one type of dementia. Frontal temporal is one type of dementia. So there's there's about 100 different types of dementia out there.
100.
Yeah, all different. All have slightly different symptoms to people that have it. Yeah.
I wasn't aware. And oddly enough, and you and I have this in common, I worked in dementia care for a number of years. And we were a daycare center and we looked after people's family members while they went off to work, so that the patient can live at home longer, so we did daycare. And,
yeah.
But I saw a few, maybe a handful of different types, but I did not know it was that vast a number. So, but what we're talking about today is Lewy body dementia, and you have the diagnosis.
Yes, correct. I have the diagnosis. I'm 51 years old now, but I was 41 when I was diagnosed, which is very young to have a dementia diagnosis. So I've lived with this disease for nearly about 10 years now.
So what prompted the diagnosis when you were 41? Can you give us an idea of what your symptoms were?
Yeah. At the time I was working in aged care, and ironically enough, I was actually working in a dementia unit in a residential aged care facility. So what was happening is I was missing shifts, forgetting to lodge paperwork. I started noticing things like it'd be a Tuesday and I'd just done the early shift at work, and then I'd go to bed and I'd wake up and the next day it would be Friday, and I was thinking, wait, what happened to all the days in the middle? I just completely had no recollection of those days. And people started noticing things, I started noticing memory loss, noticing I was losing I couldn't think of certain words.
Yeah.
So it started like that, I suppose. Yeah, just missing shifts and just little things that people noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you had the days that you couldn't account for, so, but, oh gosh, sometimes this happens. Okay,
That.
are you back in?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you are. but you did live through those days, right? You did, but it's just that they dropped out of your memory.
They just dropped out of my memory. Yeah, I was having some strange symptoms. I was having visual and audio hallucinations. I'd be at home and I would hear kids playing outside, and I'm thinking, wait, my kids are at school. What's going on? So I'd look out the window and there was nobody there. Or
Okay.
I live near I actually live just down the road from the famous Steve Irwin Zoo. So I'd go there often and see crocodiles and giraffes and all those things. And I would actually see at home, I would see crocodiles or giraffes or animals in my backyard. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? So I knew something was wrong, but I
Mhm.
couldn't quite understand what was happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So and then did it progress from there, or did it?
Yes, yeah, it progressed. With Lewy bodies, it's very, very common for Parkinson's disease to be associated with Lewy body dementia. And
Uh-huh.
often people actually have Parkinson's disease first and then are diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. But at probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I was literally stuck in a wheelchair and I couldn't walk from my kitchen to my lounge room. And having a shower or getting dressed, it was I needed help to do those things. Um,
It,
and
is it
it took a
like?
long time to, yeah, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, it took a long time to sort of get work out what was going on. And eventually I saw a really, really good geriatrician who actually put me on
Ah.
the correct medication. And once I got on the correct medication, my,
Uh-oh. You broke up. Oh, okay. We don't have
I'm here,
sound. Okay, there you are.
I'm back. Sorry, it must be a bit of a funny connection.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll just carry on.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the question again? Sorry.
Okay, so it progressed. A geriatric specialist and put you on a
Oh,
medication.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, once I was on dementia medication and Parkinson's medication, my life completely changed. I got out of the wheelchair.
Um,
I started not having hallucinations, visual or audio.
mm,
Um, and I was basically started to function again. Like I could work, I could go out, I could enjoy life again. And it took a long time to get that right, but I'm at the stage now where I'm actually living well with dementia, which is a really positive thing.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's and you don't appear at all to be word finding at all.
No, and it depends on it's up and down. Like certain days, and I will struggle to find words. And if sleep is one of the biggest things that affects people with Lewy body dementia. And when I've had a bad couple of nights with sleep, that's when I start to notice losing certain words. Not looking at my dog and think I can't remember my dog's name, or I can't even remember what
Mm.
the word dog is. So it depends on the day. So Lewy body is really up and down. It's not like, say, like Alzheimer's, where you have that sort of slow decline over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, so sleep is a key thing.
Yes. Yeah. One of the biggest things that with Lewy body dementia is you have REM sleep disorder. So for me, what that actually means is when I go to bed, when I go into that sleep state where you start to dream, my body doesn't switch off. So I actually act out my dreams even though I'm asleep. So I used to break fingers and toes all the time just from sort of kicking and thrashing around in bed. Um,
Gosh.
but and it's actually had to mean, like, because I'm married and have a wife and kids and everything, and I've actually had to sleep in a separate room to my wife because I was just sort of thrashing around in bed, keeping her awake, and also hitting her accidentally in my sleep without
Yeah.
realizing. So I've had to actually move into a separate room and a separate bed just so we can both get some sleep. So it's a big thing, sleep disturbance.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's
Mm.
interesting. So REM sleep.
Yes, REM sleep. Yeah, once you get
Because
that
your
REM sleep.
body still thinks it's being commanded to do stuff.
Yes, yeah, that little switch in your head that says you're now entering dream mode. You don't have to act out your dream. In people with Lewy body dementia, that switch is broken often.
Isn't, wow,
Yeah.
that's fascinating. So what are other ways it might be different from, say, Parkinson's?
Well, the Parkinson's, yeah, okay. With Parkinson's, I have tremors, and I do take medication for Parkinson's. But on the
Okay.
dementia side, it's strange. It affects different things. My memory. I studied law, and I it took me 4 years to get my diploma, and I don't remember one part of it. I
Wow.
studied electronics. I was an electronics technician, and I don't remember any of that stuff. And I know I did it, and I have all the pieces of paper to
Yeah.
say I did all this stuff, but I don't remember doing the courses, and I don't remember the learning, which is bizarre. um, so that's probably one way it affects me. Food is another thing. Food I find very bland. um,
Oh,
and I'm often having to put like sauce or salt or sugar or things into food just to add that flavor. So it affects different parts of your brain. Lewy body dementia.
okay. So you say that you have a tremor that's controlled. Is it like an essential tremor? Is it in your hands? Or is it
It's
head
it's
movement?
it's more of a whole body tremor.
Okay.
And with the Parkinson's side of Lewy bodies, I have a lot of muscle cramping. That's the biggest thing that I have. So
Uh,
when you see someone with Parkinson's, you know they have Parkinson's because often they will have the quite strong tremors.
yes.
My tremors are only very small, but the biggest thing that I have is muscle cramping. So when you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and your back of
Oh,
your legs woken up and you have that
uh-huh,
horrible pain.
uh-huh.
So I
Yeah.
often have that, and it can be all over my body. It can be in my arm, it can be in my neck, it can be in my leg. It just depends on the day. So
Oh gosh, and your
yeah,
muscles can get like rock hard when they're cramping like that too. Um,
yeah, just locks up, and it can affect your walking. Like I've had a number of falls over the years because my body will just seize up as I walk. Um,
oh gosh,
so it's a challenge.
have you been prescribed? Okay, this is just a question. I don't know anything, but have you been prescribed topical magnesium?
I haven't had topical magnesium, but I take it through a supplement. So I actually take
Okay,
magnesium through a supplement to help with that. Yeah.
yeah, okay, because from what I've heard, there's also a topical for like
Yeah,
instant
any
for.
holistic medication I'm for. So whether it's creams, topical stuff, I'm all for that. So yeah, that's a great thing. So I might actually look into something like that.
Yeah, and if you can get a calcium magnesium together,
Right. Yeah.
from what I've heard, I'm not
Yeah.
giving any advice here, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I've had the experience with those cramps. You slap on that cream just and oh, it's almost instant relief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your skin is absorbent. It's the largest
Yeah.
organ in your body.
It's exactly. It's a great way to take in any medication through the skin, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking in the chat to see who else, if anybody came. Just really quick, Steve, excuse me, just a moment. Stephen Ronan's in the chat. These are our regulars. Veronica May, thank you for being here. Tammy,
Hello. Hello, everyone in the chat.
hi, Stephen.
Hello.
There's Stephen Ronan. Okay, I think I got everybody. Okay, I see a new name just really quickly. Um, Rosaline Lynch. Do you know who Rosaline Lynch is?
Not myself, no.
Okay, somebody else, STE. She's greeting someone else that, oh, the other Steve. Okay, we have two Steves here. Oh, Eva Stones. Oh, your dad had Lewy body.
Ah,
Ah, gosh. Was he elderly, Eva? I don't know how old you are, Eva. I've seen you here before. And K Ride Express is in the chat. Okay, so I have a question
yeah,
for you. So, what would be your advice to? What would you tell people, like if they're like a new caregiver? What's the most important thing a caregiver would need to know? I'm not talking about a professional caregiver,
yeah,
but just
yeah. I suppose to put it simply, like just replace the word dementia with any other word that you can relate to, whether it's cancer or diabetes, whatever that thing is. Just replace dementia with that, and then you don't have to do it. There's nothing in particular that people need to do. I don't think. Just support your friends or family or loved ones that have the disease in a way that is very normal to them. I think when you start changing things up, that's when things can become a little bit difficult. So just treat people the way you would normally treat them. And if often with dementia, people have the impression that when you say dementia, people picture what it's like to have end stage dementia. We all know someone who has had dementia and is in the end stage where they
yes,
can't find the words. They're often bedridden.
staring. Yeah.
It's a lot of things, but there's a beginning stage and a middle stage, and I think a lot of people forget that like any other disease, like with cancer, when you have cancer treatment, when you're first diagnosed, you may not look like you have cancer. You don't
Yes.
have the you haven't had chemotherapy or anything like that, and it's the same with dementia. So I suppose just recognizing that there's a beginning and a middle stage is very important with dementia, because there really is that stigma attached to the word dementia. When you say I have dementia, I don't know what it is, but people you lose friends, you lose family,
Mm.
um, and people do treat you differently, which is sad. But I understand that when people think about dementia, they picture that end stage that most people are common with.
Yeah, well, end stage anything um,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
different from the beginning of it. But I'd like to add something else to what you just said, Steve, because I think I would advise people to have patience, maybe a little
yeah.
more than usual, maybe a lot more than usual. I think having patience and
Mm-hmm.
and not try to rush things. Don't try to rush conversations.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, don't try to just, I think that's one thing that I would advise people of is just when this happens to someone you love or
yeah.
someone you care about, just maybe just sit still and be there, if nothing else.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Like just be with the person. You don't have to treat them any differently. I mean, certainly people with dementia, like there are frustrations, and there are times where even when you're having a conversation, something as simple as someone typing on their phone and the little clicks of the typewriter. When you're talking to someone, sometimes just those little clicks off, when someone's typing can be for me, I can lose my train of thought, when I'm trying to have a conversation with someone. So sometimes just keeping the environment very, very quiet, not a lot of extra stimulus, because that's very, very distracting, and it really does sort of. I know for me, certain sounds when I'm having conversations, I just completely lose my train of thought. My speech stops, and I don't even know where I've sort of been left up in the conversation. So yeah, just keep things quiet, keep things calm, have patience, and understand that the person with dementia is probably having a hard time. So if they are getting maybe frustrated, um, just try and enter their world, I suppose, is the best advice. And that's advice from me living with dementia and having
Mm,
worked in aged care, and especially having worked in dementias. Sometimes you have to enter the world of the person with dementia,
yes.
just to make them feel comfortable. I mean, a perfect example was I used to work in a single story aged care facility, and one of the residents would quite often say, "Oh, those people upstairs are so noisy," and there wasn't an upstairs. And some carers would say,
Mm.
"Hey, like there is no upstairs," and that would quite often make the person frustrated and irritable because they weren't being listened to. But just saying something like, "Oh, these people upstairs, they are noisy. We'll have a talk to them." Sometimes just sort of
Yeah.
entering that world can make a huge difference to someone with dementia.
And you don't have to be right. You
No,
know, don't demand you're right and they're not.
yeah, yeah,
It's disturbing to, yeah, yeah. And you know what I noticed when I worked in dementia care is that uh, most of the classic dementia or Alzheimer's patients really they weren't aware of what was happening to them.
yeah, yeah,
With Lewy body and Parkinson's, there is an awareness that there is
yeah.
something that's diminishing them.
Yeah,
And
that's very true. Yeah.
that has to be worse. Um,
In a way it is, but in a way it isn't. I mean, I I've watched people with Alzheimer's, say for example, who have that steady decline, and they often don't realize that they're declining.
yes,
So in a sort of a nice way, they're able to enter that journey sort of a little
gently.
bit unaware. Yeah, yeah. But with Lewy body dementia, you actually know that you're losing your cognition. You realize you're losing body functions. You realize, that taste is changing, that sight is changing, that smell is changing. So you're very aware of those changes with Lewy body dementia, unlike a lot of the other dementias that are out there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm witnessing that in my friend.
Yeah,
They're very aware of there's something they're losing stuff, and
yeah.
it's heartbreaking to witness.
And it can be a very scary journey when you're actually going through it, especially trying to find the support that you need. I don't know what it's like over in the US, but over here, it's not an easy process to tap in to find that support. Um,
And
definitely doing things like this raises awareness of dementia, which to me I think is a wonderful thing. Um, and when you stop and think about the statistics of dementia, like most countries in the world, dementia is in the top three killers of the population, which is a scary statistic.
it is. It is. And also, there is the extra burden of all of the baby boomers, the biggest aging population that's ever
Yeah,
happened in the US. So there's that
that's
too.
right. That's right. Yeah, that whole generation, that baby generation, is all sort of going through the system at the moment, and um, sort of my generation, that sort of 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, they're sort of starting to come through, and like
Mm.
other diseases, for whatever reason, whether it's better testing, better awareness. I think more people are being diagnosed, and they're being diagnosed earlier, which is a good thing.
And the differences are being recognized and um,
Yeah, yeah,
studied. And uh, yeah, a couple of people in the chat have never heard of Lewy body dementia. I First time I heard it was regarding Robin Williams. That's the very first time I ever had heard that term, and I worked in dementia care for 5 years.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
First time for me. I think there should be an awareness raised, um, just to, if nothing else, you guys maybe know, be observant of what to watch for. Maybe have a little knowledge. Can't hurt. Um,
yeah.
to know about this stuff. It sure, yeah.
Well, I think the reality of it is that pretty much most people listening, they will know someone or know of someone who has dementia. So it's out there, it's in the community, and it's it's the figures are only going up. They're not going down. So and there is no cure. There is no they can only treat the symptoms. There is no cure for this disease for dementia overall. Yeah.
Yeah, overall, it's a progression, and thank goodness that there are ways to treat the symptoms. And boy, sometimes we should talk privately, or maybe you could message me
Yeah.
when you feel like it. Tell me what they have you on, so I can
Sure. Yeah.
research it a little bit.
Yeah. I can
Um,
certainly do that.
Thank you. Yeah, John Side in the chat, a good friend of ours, aunt had dementia. Sucks. Sure does.
Yeah. It's no
Yeah,
fun sometimes.
yeah. But gosh, I celebrate you, Steve. Um, Gosh,
Thank you, Robin. That's lovely. Thank you.
and where you live, you say that you don't live like in a big city. You're out.
I'm in a rural area. I live on a macadamia farm north of the closest metropolitan city is a place called Brisbane in Queensland, which is quite
Okay.
a large city in Queensland, Australia. But I'm probably about an hour and a half north of that. Um,
Gosh.
and yeah, they're really the only sort of support services I have. I do have carers who come and they will come into my home and they help around the home. They will take me to appointments, to doctor's appointments, to medical appointments, to shopping and things like that. But apart
Wonderful.
from that help, the only sort of support services are really online. There's just nothing around here. There's no place I can just go to, half an hour down the road. That's a Parkinson's support place or a dementia support place. There is just nothing around. And not only that, but most of the things that are out there, they're geared for people over 65 because really dementia is probably prominent in over 65s. But being a lot younger, there is
Mm.
nothing. There's a lot of there's not a lot of people my age that have the disease around where I live. So
So you fall through the cracks somewhat.
you sort of fall through the cracks. Yeah, yeah.
Well, gosh, for being out where you are and so removed from local services, bless your heart. Look what you've accomplished. I think it's wonderful. So when you do have to see a doctor, you have to like travel.
It's a fair way, and most of I'm lucky at the moment because I'm in I call it like a holding pattern. It's where all my medication and all my symptoms are managed quite well. So my
Good.
medical appointments are really few and far between.
Good.
Um, it's mainly just to pick up sort of medications and things that I really have to go in for. And of course, with the whole COVID thing that's happening,
Mm.
a lot of appointments that I have are actually by phone, which is fantastic at the moment. So I hope it actually stays like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are the restrictions? How's the lockdown where you are right now? Do you
Where I
know?
am right now, we're pretty good. We don't have to wear masks when we go out. Um, but
Okay.
the state that I live in, we have cases, and every time we have 2 or 3 or 4 cases, they will shut the state down, and not
Mm.
allow travel interstate to different. To you can't visit your. I haven't seen my family in nearly 2 years.
Oh gosh.
Um, just because all my family live in down the bottom end of Australia, and I live up the top. And just with COVID restrictions and travel and the uncertainty of travel, you can book a holiday, and then be on the plane. And while you're on the plane coming here, the restrictions can change. And when you get off the plane, you've got to turn around and go back home. So it's
Oh,
such a fluid thing that it's not fixed. So we can be in lockdown 1 minute, and then the next minute we're okay to go out and not wear masks. But as of today, we just have to wear masks when we go into public places like if you went to like, if you're flying on a plane or if
mhm.
you're in public transport, taxis and things like that, that's where you have to wear masks.
Okay. Do you have indoor dining? Or
Yeah, we do have indoor dining at the moment. If it's under 30 people, you don't have to wear a mask. If in a restaurant or a cafe or something, you're okay. But if it's a large gathering, I think it's over 30 people, you do have to wear masks.
gosh, that's not bad at all. Um,
No, we compared to like what you guys over there, we're actually doing quite well over here.
yeah, we have, sometimes they loosen it a little bit, and then if the numbers go up, then they tighten them up again, then they
Yeah,
loosen them, and then they have these levels of, color, and I could never follow what color level it was, what kind of a lockdown. They were identified by color. What a dumb idea. But
okay, yeah,
yeah, but right now we have limited indoor dining,
okay,
the social distancing, and you
yeah, yeah,
can take your mask down to eat, but I
yeah,
think you have to keep it up to order or talk to anybody. And
yeah,
there's outdoor dining too, but yeah, that could change tomorrow. I don't know.
exactly. Nobody knows.
Uh, I know, just don't plan for anything, everybody. Don't have any assumptions that,
Yeah,
but then you
yeah,
won't be disappointed. Just, yeah, yeah, don't, yeah.
yeah.
What, okay, in the chat really quickly. Um, Tammy in the chat says, "Hi, Steve, you're a great guest."
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Tammy, she's up there in Canada, I call it,
Yeah.
and she's an Indigenous Canadian, and she put down tobacco and sent up a prayer.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, isn't that dear?
I think that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, I'm just briefly. Oh yeah, Michelle Embry uh, is. She says it's like terror levels. American had terror levels represented by colored lights in the early. Yeah, it's almost
Uh,
like that.
yeah.
The
Doesn't sound like fun.
No, boy, that kind of works on people, I would think, subconsciously, you
I
know?
think it does. I think it does. Over time, I think well, I don't know. It's definitely worn me down, this whole COVID thing and the restrictions, and you can't travel here, and not seeing family for years. So it's been a long time. So hopefully we can start to get back to some normality in the future.
Whatever that might be. Yeah. Just,
Whatever that might be. Yeah.
yeah, a little a little more normal. Doesn't have to be totally normal, but a little
Mm,
more normal will be nice.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, always be the worst. Okay, they're having their own conversation over there in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what, Steve? I would love to have you on again. And
Thank you. Yeah.
but meanwhile, um, I want to have a message conversation with you about. Yeah, I want. You know what? I see you on Twitter, and there are links. There are places, informational places, group. Right there are
Yep.
place things you can click on to
Mm-hmm.
learn more, to get
Yes.
information. And I'm going to be doing that. I haven't yet because I just wanted to come into it brand new
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
you. But yeah, I'm going to learn more about it. Yeah, my friend has a carer now, 5 days a
Good.
week, and I think that's a lovely thing. Just as a
Yep.
companion and somebody to help out. And
Yep.
it's just things like emails and dialing the phone, that kind of stuff, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good thing. Yeah.
yeah. And I want to meet the person too, and
Yeah.
see, give my assessment.
Well, that's it. Especially when it's someone you care about, you want to make sure they're being looked after properly. So, it's a good thing to meet the carers, and I think that's actually a good thing. That's probably a good point to make. There's certainly nothing wrong with meeting, the carers of people who have dementia. I mean, they're in people's lives sometimes daily, and sometimes
Yeah.
weekly. So it's a good thing to know who's looking after your loved ones.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this isn't even a loved one; it's just a dear friend, and
Your friend, yeah.
they have a family and stuff. But so I'm just really going to be sticking my nose in. But I'm looking forward to the opportunity to
Yeah.
meet who's doing the looking out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like you say, there's lots of good resources out there that you can sort of lock into. Like most countries will have an Alzheimer's association or dementia
Yes,
association
yes.
that you can sort of go into their websites and even have information on the different types of dementia. So it's a good thing. It's a good resource that you can go and download those fact sheets or look for certain types of dementias. So there's definitely a lot of online resources out there, and there's certainly a lot of people who have dementia out there, um, who speak out and share their story.
Yeah, I used to be a member of the Alzheimer's Association. We used to do the walk for Alzheimer's every
Yeah,
year, the
yeah,
fundraiser. And you know what? That did not occur to me to use them as a resource too. Gosh,
yeah. They're a good resource. They are. Yeah.
yeah, because they would have perhaps all of the categories. And
Yeah, and often you can download the fact sheets on specific dementias. So and also how you can support someone with dementia. So if you're unsure what do I do as a friend or of someone who has the disease, you can probably find those fact sheets of how best to support a friend or family or loved one. So the information is definitely out there.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So anybody who's here now or anybody who's going to watch this afterward, I after the show, I'll put links in the show description for anybody to click on, uh, resources and information, and doesn't hurt to know about it, you guys.
No, like I say, most people will know someone with dementia, whether it's a family member or a friend or
Yes,
someone else. So it affects everyone, this disease.
everyone in some way. Like who doesn't know someone with cancer? You know,
Yeah, yeah,
so
exactly.
it's the same sort of a thing,
Same
and
thing. Yeah.
yeah, but it's not shouldn't be a forbidden topic and it's okay to acknowledge when someone is struggling.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
what
think
I
that's
found.
very important. Mm.
Yeah, look them in the eye and
Yeah,
acknowledge that, you know, hey, I'm here to listen and understand, maybe help you. I know
yeah.
with my friend, we kind of have this, help her find the word, you know.
It's a bit like that. Yeah,
And when I was first doing that, and here's the thing about patience. Um, yeah, there would be a struggle, and I'd like throw out a word, and
yeah.
no, and then I apologized. That I'm so sorry. No, she says no, no, no. Give me some more words.
Yeah, I can relate to that very well.
So it's been lighthearted
Yeah.
too, and it's okay to do that sometimes.
I
Um,
think that's probably one of the best ways is to be lighthearted, because there's times where people do get frustrated with not being able to find the correct word or how to describe something, and sometimes with people jumping in with the words, you want to come up with the word yourself. But I think I have myself discovered that it's actually better to let people give me the words, because often I could spend 10 minutes trying to think of the word for, like, say, dog or cat or something, where they can say the word straight away. And so I can totally understand what you're saying about giving words to your friend who can in a conversation to help them work out exactly what word they're trying to say. So that's a good way to help, I think.
yeah, but make sure it's okay. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
the, yeah, that's key.
yeah, yeah. And every person is going to be different. Like what's right for myself and what's right for your friend or other people with dementia may not be right for others. And you know, everyone with dementia has their own journey and their own battles, and I think that's a very important thing to understand as well.
Yeah, and you can build like little blocks of understanding in your interaction.
Yeah,
You get
absolutely.
to know the rhythms, perhaps, and
Yeah,
the cadences, and you know, if you
yeah,
spend a little time.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So Steve, I think we're gonna close this out.
Okay.
Unless you would have any final thoughts. Is there anything further that you'd like to say or like anybody else to know?
No, I think you've pretty much covered everything. But just you know, like you say, just for people that have the disease, I think it's important to be patient with people, to understand that they might be struggling to find words, or you know, have a proper thought in a certain direction. Just treat people with love and respect, and really you can't really go too wrong when you do that with people.
You can't go wrong if you're caring about it. If you know,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Because gosh, Steve, this has been absolutely delightful, and I'm so grateful to you. Number one, for being willing to come on to this tiny little show. But like I said again, I hope to have you back soon, and
Thank you. Yeah.
perhaps to report further adventures.
That
Um,
sounds wonderful. Oh, yeah, I'm in for that.
Boy, me too. So, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna blank you out. Okay, I'm gonna play us out.
Yep.
And then, yeah, our silly little playing it out. Okay, Steve, again, thank you, and
Uh,
we'll see you soon.
Thank you, and thank you for everyone who's listening as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Robin. You take care.
You as well, dear. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, you guys, that was Steve. Wasn't that just lovely? Um, okay, I'm gonna play me out because I think I need to have something to eat, and then I'm gonna go to bed early. You guys, okay? I love every damn one of you. Thank you again for showing up. Join us on Sunday for the regular Granny Show. Okay, peace out.